Dead Schooled said, I have a question. Do you immunize or vaccinate your children? And also, what ages do you start your kids on piano lessons? I start the kids usually around 5 or 6. And as far as the immunization question, I know this is a really hot button topic. So I would just say we do immunize our kids, but we do it on a much more relaxed schedule than is what is generally recommended. And
sure.
That's what I feel comfortable with, and my doctors have all been comfortable with that as well.
Right. And then we don't also take everything that they suggest.
We don't do everything.
So it's just within balance. We are not the extreme of either end. It's in the middle, right there.
Right in the middle there. Allison Wonderland, love that name, by the way, said, I love how you two look at each other. Oh, thank you, Allison. I do wonder, though, do you guys ever have cultural differences that cause friction or arguments? My husband is from Mexico, and I know for us there was a big learning curve. For example, in the U.S., a pet name would be like Honey, and in Mexico they would say Fatty or Gordita, Gordito. That was a big fight for us. I love hearing those stories. Those
that is awesome. That is just epic.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we fight all the time. It's like your way or my way, No, really, the cultures are different in many ways, but also the same in other ways. But I think one of it for us is that I think we were both very cultured and exposed at a very young age with other cultures. So I think that in it by itself kind of helped us, and we got married young and all that. So that kind of wrapped up a few challenges. We do have certain things that we notice that are different though.
Yeah. Do you want to give an example?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for us, and I don't know how much of it is culture, I think it's partly culture and partly family.
Yeah. How we were raised.
How we were raised, So it's really how we spend the day off.
Yeah.
Okay. So they spend day off working.
House projects. That's not work. It's like getting stuff done.
It's like, yeah. I'm like, it's the day off. I mean, so we spend the day off with your coffee and your chai.
All day long.
And sitting down and just having a good time. I mean, like a do nothing day. That's the day off. And so that's kind of, sometimes if we have a conflict, it's like, man, I need my 2 hours. I need to drink my coffee slowly.
Yeah, he says, let me just finish this coffee and then I'll help you with that thing.
Exactly.
2 hours later.
It's supposed to be enjoyed, relax, just kind of drink nice and slow. Salivate over every flavor, 23 different flavors of coffee, so, anyway. But
I do think the Kenyan culture is much better at taking time with people and taking things slower.
A lot more relaxed when it comes around. It's more relational oriented
and
versus task oriented.
Yes, and we can tend to be a little more on the workaholic side, and I think they're good to both.
I think everything with a balance. When you marry the thing, then it's good, because
our children will be perfect. The Bowden Bunch said, I have a question. You guys seem to have such a loving relationship. How do you make time for each other? Date nights or time away? My husband and I only have 5 kids, but find it really hard to make time to have private conversations. We understand.
It doesn't take 5 kids or 10 kids. It takes one.
Yes.
For that to change completely. So it's a real challenge, and we've had some times where you just have to be intentional, because otherwise it never happened, because there's always something to do. We've gone through times where we're like, oh my goodness, we need to take a time out here.
Yeah.
We've been going at it long without stopping. So we just have to look at it constantly and be intentional about it. Otherwise, we would never have any time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Did you want to say anything? No.
So, well, we don't have, we have gone through a lot of periods of time where we didn't get regular date nights at all. And so for us, when our kids were all younger, putting them to bed earlier helped. When we were both home in the evenings, we could spend some time talking together or watch a movie or something.
Sometimes we'll order something, we'll order something in or pick it up instead of going out. But
even now, sometimes we get out once a month together, which is not much compared to what some couples do. But we do know, we can tell in our relationship when we need to spend more time together, and we try to figure it out. Just sticking it in here or there, even if it's not like a date night. So, Family 11 asked, have you had to deal with any identity issues towards your kids being biracial? Our kids get people always grabbing at their hair or calling them the N-word or asking what they are, and it's taken a toll on our children. We are in Wisconsin. I've taught my kids to be strong and appreciate who God made them, but it still hurts. Any suggestions?
Wow. Well, first of all, I am so sorry to hear that your kids have had to experience such brutal, I don't even know how to call it, very, very shameful and acts. I mean, that it's terrible in this day and age that you still have that kind of thing going on in life, and it just shows the impact that I would call it sin has on people, because it's not really an intellectual issue, because intellectualism, I mean, how educated can we be as a society? I always go back to that's a sin issue, it's an issue of the heart. And so, but for as far as us, our experience has been, we really have not had any of that, and I think maybe part of it could be because we don't live in a very big city. We also homeschool. So some of that could contribute to why we have not experienced that. I will make a note though that we had identified this when we were young, when we were earlier married, in our early 20s, that we experienced more people looking at us more when we went to the big cities that are supposed to be more exposed to more cultures. Mm-hmm. We notice more of people like looking at us than we do in our community, which is kind of to a lot of people it's surprising. But we notice that in bigger cities, it's more of a divide on the racial issues versus in smaller communities. So my advice is really to you would be what you're already doing, building confidence in your kids and who they are.
It does happen in our city, though.
Yes.
We do hear about it. I think the homeschooling thing, and then our church is very very diverse, and even long before we were the pastors of our church, it was diverse.
Absolutely.
And so, our kids, they fit right in to most of their surroundings, and if not, they don't seem to notice, and the other kids don't comment on it much. So, but we do know it does happen in our city, and we've heard about it happening in churches in our city. So, we're not ignorant to the fact that it's real.
Yeah. The other thing is too, we believe as parents, we need to be very proactive in protecting our kids. So if I was in the same situation, one of the things I would do first as a parent, I would either change the system or put my kids in a different environment, because they definitely don't need that in their lives. They do not need to have self-doubt in themselves just because they're being told things that are absolutely untrue. So anyway, that's what I would do. I don't know if that's what you are asking, but I'm sure it actually pertains to other people as well. Either work proactively to change it, or put my kids in a different environment until they are grown, they're old enough to fend for themselves.
Amanda S. asked, what does Solo do for work? I know we've answered this many times, but he's a pastor, the lead pastor of our church, and then he also has...
I also have a business, and in fact, I had the business before I became a pastor. I just never shut down the business after I became a pastor. So,
and he helps families with their finances through his business. So for our last and final question, it was actually on a different video, a more recent one, and I can't find it right at the moment, but I remember that it asked how we deal with our eating out budget, and she just mentioned that can be a struggle. And so I thought that might be a good question to end on. Eating out budgets are hard. We have definitely blown ours before in the past. But I think the best way we handle it is
it's part of the budget.
Yeah, it's part of the budget, and ours changes like depending on our season and what's going on and how much we need to eat out at the time. But we do like to eat out, and so we budget a certain amount. So if we go to a more expensive restaurant, we may be going out once that month, or if we want to do several small things, or have a couple date nights ourselves, and we just plan accordingly for the month. When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, and then just be realistic. Don't set up yourself to fail. That's all it's about budgets. It's like, don't look back as you're setting your goals. Don't just say, oh, I want to spend this much on a budget. Look back realistically what you spent the last 3 months or so.
Yes.
Then once you've seen that and you've seen the actual number, then you can make a determination if that's appropriate, how much, if you need to increase, decrease, or stay at the same pace. So as you start off with a more realistic goal, then you could pretty much navigate through it. And the other thing, if it's a struggle, I encourage couples to, like, if it's a struggle, take cash. Just take it out of the bank and put cash in your pocket for that amount, and when it's gone, it's gone. Until you get yourself in the habit, then you can use other modes of payment. But that's what I would say.
Yes, and when we found ourselves eating out more than we wanted to cut back, we did it more gradually instead of saying, we're not going to eat out again all this month. Yeah.
Lie, you're going to eat out again.
Especially if you've been in the habit of doing it a lot. So that helps too. And then I also think that once a month grocery shopping helps a lot in this area, because say I get to the end of the day and I realize, oh, I haven't made dinner. Oh, it'd be so much easier to go out. I have the food for the whole month, so I can look for a meal that's much easier to make and doesn't take much time, and just use it that month, and just switch. Although I have a calendar, I just switch things around all the time, and that can help us too when we're trying to stay out of restaurants. So thank you guys for watching today, and I know we probably split this video into 2 or 3 segments, but on this video, if you have some more questions for us, we may do this in another month or so again. So
it might be a little longer.
Because this was overload.
No, yeah, but the baby.
Because of the baby, yes. But if you do have some burning questions for us, leave it in the comments in this video, and we will try to get to them again sometime soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.